Which bone would be the worst to break? Neck. Spine. The femur. It is the strongest bone in the human body. And if it gets broken, the person usually has a lot worse issues going on than just a broken bone. I had a friend broke his femur, thigh bone, in a car accident. He said that hurt worse than anything he'd ever felt. Femur for sure, that is a big bone to break. Pelvis. The brain bone. It happened to me twice. Tailbone sucks pretty bad. Can't exactly immobilize your ass while it heals. The funny bone. It's no laughing matter. Hyoid. Pelvic fractures are associated with a high rate of mortality. Obviously vertebrae are bad, but most of them don't actually result in paralysis, death. Several of the carpal bones in the wrist do not heal, ever, and fixing them is extremely complex. Femur. The powerful muscles and tendons surrounding it pull the broken pieces into the surrounding tissue. Your dominate arm and hand. The femur and pelvis have a lot of red marrow. Breaking them could easily cause death by internal bleeding. Neck and back are also really bad, of course. They say femur is most painful. Pelvis has one of the most blood loss potential. And of course high up in the neck will probably kill you. So depending on what your definition of worst is. Femur in the wild. The back. Enna. Your back. You could either be fully paralyzed or half. You're lucky if neither happen. Tailbone other than spine. The skull. Would be horrible for your brain if the break didn't straight up destroy it. Hyoid. You break that and you'll die within minutes. The dick bone. Skull. Having broken dozens of bones. The worst was my acetabulum. Hip bone where the femur head enters its socket. I drove the femur head through it. 6 months in traction and then a lot of rehab. The femur itself was the next most painful and inconvenient. My wife broke her wrist. And the recovery has been brutal. Think about how many things your wrist allows your hand to do via strength or flexibility. Particularly if it's your dominant hand, that can fuck your world up. Tailbone is supposed to be pretty hellish. Also, Tony Hawk said breaking his elbow or knee, I don't remember which one it was the only time he ever vomited from pain. So that doesn't sound very pleasant either. A Trex bone at the museum. They'll call the cops. It isn't a bone, but it is both painful and tragic to break your dick. As an SCP containment breach enjoyer, I'd say the femur. Coccyx and collarbone. The PP. That's a bone that needs to stay in action. Femur bone cracked in half. https://www.youtube.com/watch v = 4ERBPNL0IIC, open mouth face. One of my friends broke both her femurs on a march in the army, and because they were stress fractures caused by an unknown calcium issue, nobody believed her and she had to finish the march with what turned out to be spiderweb fractured legs. She said it felt like when a joint is about to pop but won't. Plus unimaginable pain. And they're still not the same. Dominant hand, ones that paralyze legs or whole body, in general. Your true love's spine. The best bone would be the spine of the one who broke your true love's spine. Penis. I would guess one of the tiny ones in your ear. If you are breaking them, then you probably also have a very broken skull and a bad case of brain damage. Death. Femur would probably be one of the most painful. But I imagine spinal injuries are the most debilitating. The funny bone. The lose of the best medicine. This would devastate the world. Collarbone sucks. It's like breaking a rib but a lot worse. It hurts to breathe. hurts to move, hurts to not move, hurts to lay down. And chances are, unless you get surgery, it probably won't heal right and will give you lifelong muscular imbalances. I've broken a lot of bones. And to this day, the clavicle has been the most problematic. And I've fractured vertebrae in my upper and lower back both. However, I do admit, a pelvic fracture would also probably hurt a lot. And give some of the same types of problems. But I haven't experienced one of those. Spine. Going against all the commenters here and saying something more intellectual, not just the physical sides of things. The brain bone. The brain controls every micron of your beingness. It's your basic quantum physics, really. Think about it this way. You've got your legs bones, then you can't walk, but what if you've your legs fine as day but broken the bone of your brain and can't trigger their microbes to move? Transport. Getting comfy. Just dancing. Whatever it may be. Not the worst. But fifth metatarsal was pretty awful. Couldn't walk for 6 months. And after it healed, pain persisted for over a year. Femur. Skull. I broke my pelvis during a 40-yard dash in high school. That was over a decade ago and I've never been the same.